Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to show you the second team match I played almost a week ago. We had a home game, so we're all in our own atmosphere there. We play there quite good. So it's positive for us to play at home. We're just a lot better there. Okay, we won the team match in the end with the score of 7.5 to a half. I was the last one playing and I won. And the reason I was still playing was that my opponent, which is an average player, rated almost 1600, and well, he played very cautiously and defensively. I had to really break him. So let's take a look at the first couple of moves. E4, D5, the Scandinavian defense. And actually my opponent here decides to decline the Scandinavian gambit, so he plays E5. Well, E5 might seem like a good idea, but it weakens, of course, squares here on the light squares. So I immediately grab my chance to make use of that, so I play bishop f5. And I've analyzed this position many times with an engine, because I also found that many online players like to decline the Scandinavian gambit, so I needed a good line for an almost sure win. Well, there isn't a line which lets you win this position easily, but there is a line which makes sure you get a nice and comfortable position. So that's what I played. Okay, my opponent here played d4, opening up some, making some space for the dark side bishop, and immediately here I play c5, trying to disrupt the pawn structure of white, because of course if white was to take, then the pawn on e5 would be very weak. So he didn't take, of course, he played c3. Okay, so I played here knight to c6, bishop to d3, and here I trade off my light square bishop, because it will be my weaker bishop in the end, and it's the stronger bishop for white in the end, so I gladly take them off. And here I lock up the position by playing the move e6. Okay, now what has happened after the first couple of moves? Well, black of course has more developed, because you can't call a queen real development, not so early in the game. Black has a very solid position here, with the pawn structure like this. So let's continue the game and see where white makes his mistake, and it is a mistake easily made. Okay, knight f3, getting some development in, finally, and here I capture the pawn on d4, and here my opponent recaptured with the pawn. Okay, but my opponent couldn't of course capture with the queen, and capture with the knight is also not an option, because then I would take the pawn on e5. So there are a couple of mistake moves that my opponent could make in this position. Well, he didn't, but I just weakened his pawn structure a little bit more, because now d4 is very weak. So I play queen to b6, attacking the poor d4 pawn another time. And you can see, you can imagine a plan coming up like this, and eventually this bishop will also take its place on eventually possibly f6, but we'll see how the game continues. My opponent here plays castles here, and I play knight g to e7, of course trying to attack the d4 pawn once more. Okay, my opponent here plays knight to a3, and this does a couple of things. For instance, it defends the square b5, and I didn't feel like trading of queens already in this game. I wanted to keep it on just a little bit longer so I could extend my nice position here. So that's why I played the move a6. Okay, well, my opponent here plays the move b3. There can only be one reason to play that move, and that is to put the bishop on b2. Well, I play knight to f5, my opponent plays knight to c2, rook to c8, and here finally the move bishop to b2. Okay, now let's take a look at this position. As black, I'm attacking the d4 pawn for this moment 3 times. White has defended it, over defended it actually, has defended it 4 times. So I had to start to come up with another plan here, because now the pawn, white defends the pawn 4 times, so it is able to move any of these pieces. At least one of them can move freely now, so it's up to what I do, so that white can decide which piece to move. Okay, I just continue here playing solid moves. So I play bishop e7, giving the bishop a little bit more scope, at least to the king side of the board, because the queen side of the board is defended well enough. Okay, and white here plays rook f to c1. I thought it was a little strange move, but my engine thinks it's still okay for white, so I don't see problems there. Here I played h5, and this is actually a strange move. My engine at first didn't like the move too much, but after a couple of seconds it started to look better and better for me. So what does h5 do? Well, it's very easy. I haven't castled yet, so I haven't committed my king to anywhere, and white has castled, so the white king is over there, and if for some reason I could open up these 2 lines, then it would be a very heavy attack going towards the white king. And that was my plan, of course, for playing the move h5. Well, my opponent here tries to trade off my knight on f5, and I wouldn't want him to take there, because my pawn structure would be disrupted, and that doesn't look all too good. So I moved my knight back to h6. My opponent played h4 here, and I actually started to get a smile on my face when he played this move, because now he has weakened the square g4, and that is where my knight moves now. White better dare not to take here. For example, if he does, it would be takes, and now this knight has to move, and h4 will be hanging. So will get a very heavy attack on the king side very fast. Well, he didn't take, so at least that's something okay. But he played g3. And well, g3 also has its weaknesses, and it is that it is only supported by f2.